Hey guys, Todd here. Today I just want to give you a quick reveal of what tires I'm going to be putting on my Maverick and why. Okay, so first of all, let me just get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and show you the tire. This is the Toyo Open Country All-Terrain AT3. Let me flip this around to give you a little bit better idea of what's going on here. Okay, so here's the tire. Now, factory tire is 225 65 17. That's 28.5 inches tall. Toyo Open Country AT3 that I've got is a 245 70 17 that comes up to 30.6 inches tall. So it's a little over 2 inches taller than the factory tire. So yes, that's going to throw off my speedometer a little bit. When I'm going, when the speedometer says 70 miles an hour, I'll probably be going about 75. I will eventually correct that, but until then, I'll just keep an eye on stuff. Something else I want to point out, first of all, let's just look at the size difference here. That kind of gives you a good feel for the difference. I've got the FX4 package. The base tire on the FX4 package is the Pirelli Scorpion ATR, which they call an all-terrain. I call it a mall-terrain. It's just the tread's more like a street tire than like an all-terrain tire. The Toyo is definitely a more aggressive tread. The spacing in between those lug voids, or the lug void spacing, is really what's going to help to grip that uneven and loose terrain to get you good traction off-road. Something else I really like about the Toyo Open Country is if you look at each one of these lugs, you've got these little lines that are going through. Those lines are called siping. If you've got a tire and you take your thumb and you push on that tread and you drag it across that tread, you'll feel more friction whenever you hit those little lines. And that's the reason why is because actually adding a new moment of friction with each one of those lines, this is what's going to help you get better traction in wet conditions. So if you're on the street and it's been raining, if you're on a boat ramp, these sipes are what is going to give you better traction. A lot of times people will get big knobby mud tires and they'll be on a boat ramp and they'll start to slip a little bit and they'll wonder why, because they've got soft composition, all that kind of stuff. It shouldn't be slipping. They don't have near as much siping in most cases on a mud terrain tire. Also, let me point out this right here. This is called the shoulder of the tire, and these are the shoulder blocks. And every other one of the shoulder blocks is going to be scalloped out, and that's also to kind of help in loose terrain. It helps to kind of saw its way through and bite down and grip better in that loose terrain as you're moving through. So really nice tire. Something else, one of the main reasons why I went with the Toyo is in this particular size, most of your all-terrain tires are about 5 pounds heavier than the Toyo Open Country AT3, and the weight of the tire has to do with how much fuel you're going to use, how well your brakes are going to work. So the heavier it is, the harder it is to slow it down, the harder it is to speed it up. And in that, if it's heavier, it's going to use more fuel. So I want to try to maintain as much as I can with that. And that's the reason why, that's one of the main reasons why I went with this one. There are other good selections that are out there, but this is where I went. Something else I want to point out, if you go on to, and I'm going to drop the link to this down in the description on the Real Truck page, but whenever you get to the Real Truck page, you'll have to put in the year, make, model, all that kind of good stuff, and you'll have to put in the size. So it's a 245 70 17. Now, whenever you pull that up, it's going to ask you if you want the E or the XL. You want the XL. The E, that has to do with your ply rating. And that would be on an LT rated tire, which LT rated is typically for your much larger trucks with a much larger load. And this right here is going to be the correct application for the Maverick. It's going to be better for ride quality. It's going to be better for handling. It's going to be better just kind of all around. Very few advantages of having an LT versus this one right here when you're putting onto something like a Maverick. So keep that in mind if you go to the link in the description. Next, I want to tell you the factory tire, that 225 6517 versus the larger tire, I have to run a different pressure. Now, in this from the factory, that Pirelli Scorpion in this size is going to require 35 psi for the best handling, for the best performance, fuel economy, wear, all that kind of good stuff. When I move to the larger tire, the truck doesn't know what tire it's on. The tire doesn't know what truck it's going underneath. So the amount of pressure on this tire is going to need to change. Now, there's a lot of people that will give you all kinds of different ways to figure out what pressure to run. Sometimes they'll say, okay, do this chalk test and all that. And guys, just skip that. Let me tell you the correct way of doing it. Call Toyo, right? What they're going to do is they're going to look at the service description, which gives you load index that will tell you what load this tire can take, and it's going to tell you what load is rated for on different PSI ratings. So for this particular truck, with the amount of load going on each axle, this tire needs to be run at 27 PSI versus 35 PSI. I did not make up 27 PSI. Toyo looked at their load charts and they said, based on their load charts, this size tire on this axle and on the rear axle, they need to be 27 PSI. That is the right way to do it. That is a scientific way to do it. That is the tested way to do it. That's the way I'm going to recommend that you guys do it. That's going to give me a better ride quality. That's going to give me good longevity. That's going to give me, good handling and performance with this particular tire. Obviously, if I want to take it off-road, if I decide to air down, I can still do that. But on the highway, on the street, 27 PSI is where this tire needs to be when you're installing it on the Maverick. So guys, I know I threw out a lot of words. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, hit me up. In the meantime, you guys enjoy your vehicle.